The first step, really, before you begin, is to know your specifications. Where are you going to put your EV charger? What amp breaker? What gauge? Do you need plastic or metal conduit? If you need the answer to any of those questions, you should definitely check out part one of this series. The next step is to prepare your space, and this is going to vary based on where your main panel is and where you're going to put your EV charger. So I'm putting mine in the garage. Again, I'm just running at a short distance. I'm going to bore through the 2x4s, but I do first want to put some insulation, just 1 inch, so that I can make sure I get the wires in behind it. The next step is to actually run the wire. I used a 3/4 inch spade bit to bore through the 2x4s, and then went with an 1.5 inch knockout, and it looks like this, and then an 1.5 inch electrical clamp looking like this to secure it into the actual main panel itself. So this is me drilling into the main panel and then performing the knockout. I about double or triple checked to make sure I wasn't going to go through a wire, and then ultimately bored right through. Once I bored through, again, just knock out the opening there, and then secure the cable clamp. Once the hole was made, I just pulled it up into the main panel. My breaker's on the bottom left, so I don't have to worry about too much, but I did leave quite a bit extra because I had it. I then pulled the wire through the walls. I did go back and put protective metal plates against all the 2x4s. I don't think that's in this video though. Not shown here, I took the Tesla wall charger out and laid it on this board and cut the hole exactly where I wanted it to be mounted, and then ultimately mounted the board. The next step is to wire the panel itself. So shut off power to the panel, double check that there's no power to the panel, break out your multimeter. Safety is paramount here, especially with 240 volts. My breaker's in the bottom left, so what I'm doing here is just sizing how big I need the wire, or how long I need the wire to be, and then I will cut it and strip about 5/8 inch off the bottom, and this is what it looks like. One going to red, one going to black. If I was to self-diagnose myself, I think those should have been tucked a little tighter against the wall, but overall, not upset about it. So here's me actually doing it. I undid both of the lugs on the uh, breaker itself, apologies. Put them in, tighten the lugs as hand tight, and then a quarter turn, then tug them, and then retighten them. And it should ultimately look like that. The next step is to mount the wall connector plate. Tesla gives a couple options for which knockout to use. I use the lower right one, and then they provide 2 screws that you mount the mounting plate with. I think it's easiest to put the top screw in and not fully seat it, and then use the level and then put the bottom screw in. So that's what I'm doing here. Once you have it on, you can see what's going to happen here. The wire is going to come up and around and then connect to, positive line and then line one. So I left about 18 inches, but I need to leave about a foot if you're using the bottom right knockout. The next step is to cut, size, and install the wire. Again, I left about 18 inches to be safe. Give or take a foot is probably what you need if you're using the bottom right knockout. You cut the wire with a big pair of pliers. The link is below if you need something for heavier gauge. You're going to strip again about 5/8 to 1/2 inch off, and then in this case you're going to use the included hex key. So run the wire over to the right and then down, undo each of the hex keys, and then install, again hand tighten plus a quarter turn. The goal is 50 inch-pounds, but give or take, if you do hand tighten and then a quarter turn, tug on it, and then tighten again, you should be good to go. I kept mine in order, so for instance, my top one in my panel is black, my leftmost one is black, and then red, and then obviously ground. You're going to do this for all 3 wires. In my case, I have the white wire, which is not needed. It's just sort of future-proofing in case I need to ever upgrade or change it in some way. This is absolutely something that you do not need. You only need 3 wires, but it was worth it for me. The last step is to install the cover plate and then connect to Wi-Fi. So the cover plate is attached by 2 screws, one at the top, one at the bottom, and then go ahead and turn on your power at the breaker/main panel. and then the Tesla wall connector will light up and you can connect it to Wi-Fi and do all the things you need to do.